little bit. But also, before we go into that, right, something got to be said. I've been seeing a lot of Hebrew Israelites make these posts about their disappointed with the Hebrew Israelite community. They lost faith in the Hebrew Israelite community. A lot of y'all have become Christians. A lot of y'all have put on the new man and then went right back into Christianity with a lot of these posts that I've been seeing. Do y'all not know we're in captivity? Do y'all just forget that, like, we're in captivity, we're subject to the curses? You know, the thing that y'all like to use, like Deuteronomy 28, to try to prove that we're Israelites, y'all just pretend like those just don't exist anymore. Right? And I want to bring this verse out real quick. So this is Jeremiah. Oh, wait, y'all can't even see that. Boom. Yeah, Jeremiah 17, verse 5. Thus saith the Lord, or thus saith Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from the Lord. So we see a lot of Israelites. I've seen a lot of Israelites. I mean, I don't know if everybody else has, but I've seen a lot of Hebrew Israelites. Oh man, I've lost faith in the Hebrew Israelite community. Your faith is misplaced. If everything that's happened in the last few weeks has made you lose any type of affinity towards your people, your faith is misplaced. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing as an Israelite, especially somebody who's been in this long enough to know niggas are going to be niggas. I want people to really understand that, right? Because let's go to Deuteronomy. Because I don't want to spend too much time on this, but let's go to Deuteronomy. I think it's 46, right? I'm trying to figure out how Israelites forgot this point right here. Let's start off one. Deuteronomy 28 and 45. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord, or Yahweh thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. This is talking about us as a nation. This isn't just one or two, or even which I want to call the Hebrew Israelite movement, the sect of us, right? And we're not, as a nation, keeping the commandments, we're subject to the curses, just like the prophet Daniel was, just like the rest of the prophets were, the ones who were in direct captivity, even though they were righteous. Those prophets and the people who were keeping the commandments in truth and sincerity, they made up the minority of Israel. Since the majority was wicked, they have to be subject to the curses. That brings us all the way to 2025. If the majority of our nation, scattered throughout the rest of the world, is being wicked, we're what? Under the curses. So this is why you see single moms. This is why you see so much turmoil. This is why you see brotherhood not lasting as long as we assume that they would. That's why you see all things like this. I thought we believed in the book. Especially this, since we quote this to try to prove we're Israelites. Verse 46, real fast. I'm finished making that point. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So these are always going to be on us until we reach the kingdom. Because the thing is, when we're in the kingdom, let's go a few chapters over. Let's go a few chapters over. Deuteronomy 30, right? Deuteronomy 30 and 1. It says, and it shall come to pass, when all these things shall come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy God have driven thee. So we shall call the blessing and the curses to mind. But what do we see now on this side of captivity? The curses. And when you see things happening to us, you see turmoil still in the households, even in the Hebrew Israelite quote unquote movement, right? The Hebrew Israelite quote unquote community. The reason why we see that is because we're still in captivity. The majority of our nation is wicked, so we have to suffer the curses. Does that give anybody an excuse to be wicked? No, especially knowing the truth. It doesn't give anybody license to treat people however they want. But we, at the same time, we can't be surprised when we see things happen in our community. And I'm using that word community colloquially because we're talking about people and fellow Israelites on social media and various places where we meet them. I don't mean the community as like we see like in the Bible where we lived amongst each other, because that's not, for the most part, that's unrealistic for all of us to literally live amongst each other in America, especially with us under the curses, as we can see, right? So when we see things happening to us inside of our quote unquote community, it shows us that God is real. I want people to really understand that. When you see things happening to us and you see us treating each other a certain type of way, when you see things happening, does that make it right? No. But what does that ultimately show? God is real. And it will continue to be like that until we're in the kingdom. Let's prove this. I'm gonna prove both things that I said. So this is which I've said before this day, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God have driven thee, and thou shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children and all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn your captivity means save you from captivity, right? And have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all nations, whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outermost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. So this hasn't happened yet. This is a future prophecy. I go into this all the time. So verse 5, and the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. This hasn't happened yet, right? We're not been brought back into our land. We haven't been multiplied above our fathers. We haven't been gathered from the outermost parts of the earth. And that leads us all the way into verse 6. And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. We don't have this currently. So when you see things, knowing we don't have this currently, what are you going to see? Us being subjected to the flesh, and when we're subjected to the flesh, we see the curses. So how can we be surprised? Like I see so many things. I see literally Israelites complaining about curses. How are we surprised that we see curses upon Israelites? I thought we were the people of the book. You just thought that now that you put a hair wrap on and you got a skirt on, you got fringes on your skirt, right? And you somehow don't eat pork anymore. Now you'll never go through nothing in your life or in the relationship with your people and your community at large. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like Christianity. And that's what I thought we all had in common. We left this behind us. I thought that's the one thing that, like, I mean, we might disagree with who salvation is for, like whether most Israelites believe it's for just Israel, and you have certain Israelites believe it's open to everybody. Some people disagree on certain points of the law. Some people disagree on certain ways we keep the Sabbath. But I thought there's one thing that we have in common, that we left Christianity behind us. I thought that was the one thing, but apparently I'm wrong. Apparently I've completely misunderstood the way this thing works then, because all I see is Israelites thinking that we've somehow escaped the curses and we're all supposed to live a kumbaya type of lifestyle between all of us. That's not going, like, we don't see that scripturally. That's why I made a status about that on IG and Facebook. Like, God is showing you that he's real. And he's not only is he showing you that he's real, he's showing you that you are the people of this book. When you go look at white Christendom on the internet, for the most part, these people get along. These people have various different doctrines. These people believe various different ways. These people continue to just get together and put their forces together to come up against Hebrew Israelites, even though they believe different things. That's not evidence of somebody under the curses. I want y'all to know that's what y'all want. That's what y'all expect in this for some reason, right? But if we had that, that would show us that we are not the people of God. The people of God, the Israelites, on this side of the kingdom, right, will be under the curses. But let's show you that this proves God's real. Daniel chapter 9. Let's continue to cook. Daniel 9 and 11. It says, yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. So all right here, I think in one of the parts of this video, they made a point. I think was it freaking John? John made a point about all, and Captain Benaniah said all doesn't mean all in every context. This is one of those contexts where all doesn't mean all. Daniel and the Daniel and the three holy children were righteous unto God. But it said, yea, all Israel have transgressed their laws. So what is this showing you if you have any type of logic and a logical brain? If the majority of your people are wicked, speaking about the Israelites, if the majority of Israel is wicked, all of them have to pay the price for it because God deals with nationalities. So knowing that, and especially us being Israelites, putting fringes on, stop eating pork, keeping the high holy days, right? Knowing this, let's continue to read this. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. So what do you expect? I thought we believed in the book. What do you expect to happen? Verse 12 is the point, too. And he have confirmed his words. Who he? Yahweh. You don't want to get like y'all, like he, that's Yahweh confirmed his words. He said, if y'all don't keep the commandments, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. We're not keeping the commandments. As hell, even some of the deal of the Hebrew Israelites apparently are not keeping the commandments. I thought we believed in this. I thought this is things that should be second nature to you already, being a practicing Israelite. Why the world is the way it is. And the reason why the world is the way it is because that's the bottom line, because Yahweh said so. If he said, I'm going to put the curses upon you, if y'all don't want to keep these laws, God damn it, these curses get put upon you. He's confirmed his words. So it says, and he have confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges. Watch this, our judges that judge us. Right, that sounds like the Hebrew Israelites now, because we say we use this verse, we use various verses, I believe in Psalms, where it talks about who shall rise against the evildoers. Right, rising against the evildoers, really being a judge for your people. That's who the Hebrew Israelites are, who the practicing Hebrew Israelites are supposed to be with their people who are in the Gentile mind state, or whether they're just in this learning. Right, so he's speaking evil against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil, for under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem. Which brings me to the part that I said earlier. When you look at Christendom on the internet, or specifically white Christendom, right? Because what's funny is black Christendom, they can't really get along. And I wonder why that is, right? But I digress. But when you look at white Christendom as a whole, they can get together under one banner, believing different things with no problems, and form brotherhoods that for the most part will never ever fade. But for us, we can't do that. Why? Because of this. This is something you all should know. I'm surprised that people are surprised. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. It's crazy. But let me see something real fast. Let's go into this video, man. Let's go. I had to get that off my chest, because man, I am so tired of seeing shares. I'm so tired of seeing long paragraphs about how you're disappointing Israelites for being Israelites. You know what I mean? I can't. Right? I can't. But let's go into this video, right? So John